Hello everyone, my name is FitterSpace, and today I'm going to be talking about a level in 007 Nightfire called Alpine Escape. The level itself isn't really that interesting, but there's a lot of history behind the speedrun for it. For those of you who may not be familiar with this game, Alpine Escape is an on-rails mission where you need to kill certain enemies at certain times to maximize your speed. Because of this, there really isn't much time to save. As long as you do everything right, you'll pretty much always get a really good time. Despite this, Alpine Escape's IL speedrun was actually really competitive in early 2016. The speedrun leaderboard for 007 Nightfire is on speedrun.com, and it's mostly focused on full game runs, but you can also do speedruns of individual levels. When we added the individual level leaderboard, Alpine Escape was one of those levels that nobody wanted to do. It's a boring level that, like I said, you can't really save time in as long as you don't make any mistakes. So at the time, most people were focusing on levels that weren't Alpine Escape. Enemies Vanquished, Double Cross, and Chain Reaction were the most popular levels for IL runs. But there was a guy named Shouldershot that came to me and said, "Hey FitterSpace, I want to do some IL speedruns, but my time for Double Cross is really bad. What level do you think would be the easiest one to get world record in?" And I said, "Well, Alpine Escape is a good starting point. Nobody's done that level yet, so it's literally a free world record." So Shouldershot does a run on Operative and gets a 413. Then he also does a run on Double O Agent and gets a 411. It's worth noting that this is actually higher than the target time, which is 408. I also find it really funny that his time was better on the harder difficulty, which you really wouldn't expect to happen. Now, Alpine Escape is such a bad level that most people didn't even care that the first place time for Operative and Double O Agent were as unoptimized as they were. But there was one person that did care. Out of nowhere, Infinite Shelter decides that he's also going to start doing Alpine Escape runs. He does some attempts for a little while and comes up with a 408 on Operative. But there was still a lot of room for improvement. Now these two guys decide they're going to have some kind of rivalry, because Shouldershot comes back and gets a 406, then Infinite Shelter gets a 405. They also did the same thing with Double O Agent. They kept going back and forth, saving about 1 second off of each other's runs every time. This is the point where Alpine Escape starts getting pretty optimized. Pretty much every known time save was done in Shelter's Operative 405 run. The only thing left to do at this point was to optimize it even further. The rivalry between Shouldershot and Infinite Shelter was getting some attention as well, and it got enough attention to get more people doing Alpine Escape runs. The two most notable were Ollie NK and Keystone Light. Keys got a 404 on Operative, and Ollie got a 404 on Double O Agent. This is where we decided that Alpine Escape was dead. Like I said earlier, this mission is almost entirely on rails, meaning that you can't actually control where you're going. Every known time save was done in Keys' 404, and there was no known way to improve it. Until it happened. Keys was doing some Alpine Escape ILs just because it was really a meme at this point. He checks his in-game timer after a successful attempt, and there it was, 403. Nobody knew how or why it happened, but it did. Somehow, there was still a small amount of time to save, which was just enough to get the legendary 403.
That's a world record. Rip Shelter forever.
Ollie and Shelter later went on to tie that run. Now it's a 3-way tie for first place. Fast forward a few months and Gamer Freak and I started working on a new tool-assisted speedrun for 007 Nightfire. I started with the first level called The Exchange, then Gamer Freak does Alpine Escape. The next day, he tells me he found a neat little way to save 20 frames, which is 1/3 of a second. You can shoot a grenade at a water tower near the beginning of the level, and that'll cause the snowmobile to keep moving at top speed after killing the first group of enemies. Would this be enough to get 402? Well, nobody knows for sure. Since then, Infinite Shelter did several hours of attempts and managed to get 8 403s. In one of those runs, he actually lost time later in the level and it was still a 403, so who knows? Maybe 402 is possible. If it is, it's just barely. But that's the thing with speedrunning. You never really know what the best possible time is. For a while we thought 404 was maxed, then 403 happened, then we thought that was maxed. Then a new way to save time was found, so it just goes to show that even if a time seems unbeatable, there's always potential for new time saves, even in an auto-scroller.